Here we go is the second section of today. After robotics, we talk about the transition of 3D printing from prototyping to production. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker, Mr. Hugo Wong, member of Hong Kong 3D Printing Association, product manager of Print Right Management Limited. Welcome, Hugo.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hugo. My company is Print Rights Management Limited, and we are specialized in 2D printing and 3D printing business. And welcome the invitations from Global Source and also the invitations from Hong Kong 3D Printing Associations. And as a member of the 3D Printing Associations, we enjoy the connection from this association. This association is the first 3D printing association in Hong Kong, which have a lot of members from education institutes and medias, industries, and public bodies, and also other associations. If you are interested in joining the associations and also have many some inquiries, please feel free to contact the Hong Kong 3D Printing Associations. And let's go back to my company. Our company, Pinwright Groups, is a Hong Kong company, and we have 35 years experience in the industry. But as the market is changing, so we start our 3D printing business from 2012, and we launched our first 3D printer, named Corridor 3D printer, in 2014. And we have our factory and also our R&D center in Zhuhai, China. And of course, we have a large manufacturing plants right there with a lot of experts in 2D and 3D printing. So we have a very close relations with the technology because we have our eyes on the 3D printing technology for a long time. And right in these few years, we found that this is the correct time for us to enter this business. So today I will talk about the transitions of 3D printing from prototyping to production. Why we will talk about this topic? Because 3D printing, in fact, is not a new technology. The first 3D printers come out in 1980s, but at that time it is a very expensive one, and the printout is not that good. So at that time, the printer is only for making prototype for the manufacturers. And I think around 5 years ago, with the rapid growth in the 3D printing industry, more and more low-cost printer coming out, and more people and investment go into the industry. So the industry grows rapidly, and many different new technology, new materials, and new solution applications come out. So making the industry have a very big change. For example, today's 3D printings, the printout from the 3D printer is in fact quite close to our final product. For example, on the finishing, in the past it's only one color, but right now there is already full color printouts. No matter you assemble all these parts together in one, or the printer can print a single printout with full color on it. And also smooth surfacing. Before that, because of the technology constraint, the printer can only build a very rough surface of the 3D printout. But right now, the surface of the printout is very smooth, just like a real final product. And of course, today's 3D printout has a very high resolution. You can see. Can I have a pointer? Okay, no. Okay, so you can see even if we are making a jewelry, the printer still have a high resolution to create such kind of products, and also many others new finishings from 3D printer. Besides finishings, there are more materials can be used in 3D printing. The basic one is plastic. But in the past, the plastics is only ABS or the resin or the photopolymer which is specialized for 3D printing. But right now, for plastic, the most common one is ABS, but also PLA, PC, and also a nylon, etc., which is the materials that we can see in daily life products. And besides plastics, of course, most of the products in the world are made from metals. So today, the metal and alloys materials are very common in 3D printing as well. And besides plastic and metal, ceramics is also another very important materials in daily life product, and 3D printer can manage to print it now. And also more application and more materials, and I think in the previous sessions, the speaker Benjamin also mentioned something about 3D printing. It's also mentioned clothing. Clothing is another materials. Maybe it's still in a startup, but we can see that in coming 1 or 2 years, clothing can be another important materials for 3D printing. And besides materials, another important change is the physical properties of the 3D printouts. For example, the printout of the 3D printer is much stronger than before, because even they used plastic and metal before. Due to the technology constraint, they cannot build to create an 100% same as a metal product from the traditional manufacturing method. But right now, since they have a change in technology, slightly enhancement in the technology and also the materials, they can create very strong pinout. For example, the spanner, you can print a spanner and really make it in your work. And another thing is about the flexibility. So I think it's a simple case that the major shoes brand like Nike, New Balance, and UA, they're using the new materials to create the new shoes, athletic shoes. And they are already making the shoes for the athletics, and they're expecting to make the shoes for the whole market, I think maybe in 5 or 7 years. They are already developing this one. And besides flexibility, also electroconductivity is another important change in 3D printing. Before that, they only can just print plastic and maybe metal, but it is not good for making something for example, the PC board. So if by printing electroconductive materials on a plastic plate, now we can create a PC board immediately. And with having printing a PC board, that means we can build the whole electronics device by a 3D printer. So here are the development in the physical properties of the 3D printer. But I need to stress on one thing, is that the metal printing technology. Because for the plastic printing technology, it is quite mature. Because you can see there are many FDM technology, which is printing ABS and PLA, and they are very low cost in the market already. So I think many of you have this kind of printer at home or in office already. But for metal printing, today, the cost of this is quite high. It's still quite high. For example, here are some of the major metal printing technologies like SLS, selective laser melting or sintering, and laser metal deposition, etc. All these are at least $1 million Hong Kong for only the machines. And for the material, it is the metal powder, it is also very expensive. So making the metal printing is quite a high-end activity, and only the high-end manufacturer can acquire it for in their manufacturing process. So since my company Pinrite is the developer of 3D printer as well, so I just want to introduce a new metal printing technology which is developing by our company. And we call this AMSS, Additive Manufacturing Selective Sintering. It's quite long, but the technology is quite simple. This consists of 4 processes. First is printing. The printing is similar as a FDM printer, which extrude the material from the heated nozzle and then put it on the printed platform, build it layer by layer. And after printing the 3D object, it will need the binding process and sintering process to make the printed material into the real metal. And finally, this is optional. If you think the printout is already very good, then you can leave it. But if you want a perfect finishing, then you can bring the printout to have a post-processing, like polishing and assembling, etc. So unfortunately, this is still a new technology. So we have some printout sample you can see from this slide. This is printed by our AMSS metal printing technology. And our prototype printer will launch I think in June this year. And the product will officially launch in Q3 this year. The advantage of our metal printing technology is that, 1, the cost is only 25% of the existing metal printing technology. And right now it's 25%, and maybe later we can make it down to 20 or 15% of existing metal printing cost. And the second thing is the material is much easier to handle. Because the existing metal printing technology, they use metal powder, it is quite difficult for the user to store it or handle it because it's just a powder, it can fly everywhere. For the materials of our metal printing technology, we will make the material in a spoon-like filament, just like FDM printing technology. So what you need is just a roll of filament to make the printing. So it is much easier for you to store or use the materials for our metal printing. So if you're interested on this or want to know more about this new technology, feel free to contact me after these sessions. So after introducing a new technology in metal printing, I would like to talk more about, because I talk about today, 3D printout is much closer to a final product. Then, is it really real final product made by 3D printer in the market? Yes, there is. But I would like to show you a concept that when we talk about final product, in fact, it is not only the product sold in the market. Maybe for consumer, it is the product they can see in the market. But for many other people, for example, a manufacturer or some other companies, final products means the product they can use immediately. So for final product right here, I will include the sales tools, which is used by the many companies, sales company, or the specialized tools used by many manufacturers. They also print these tools by 3D printers, but they are not for sale. But this product can help them to work better. So for the product for selling, I think everyone can see this in Facebook or on the internet, is that there are many people using 3D printer to create customized accessories. For example, iPhone case or USB case. It is quite it's a great business because what you need is only a 3D printer and a computer. And then you can create anything you want. And you can, for example, for the USB, usually when you see from the internet, they will ask for your name, and they will create your name on the USB with some artistic design. And then if you are okay with the design, then they just pin it and send it to you. And the cost is very low. For this USB, as I remember, it's just I think it's just 50 to 60 Hong Kong dollar for a 4 GB USB with this customized design. And also, there are many people using 3D printer to create tech products, and no matter they are they are make it by themselves or put it on the internet to sell. Here I just list out the printout related with camera and lens. And why they use 3D printer for this? Because they cannot find this in the market. They have very specialized design, which is good for their camera and, for example, the iPhone they use. And no company made the design, but they found that this design is good. So they made it by themselves, and they sell it in the internet immediately. Also, home products. Many people have very interesting design, interesting idea in their minds, but if they send their ideas to a manufacturer, the manufacturer cannot make this for them because they may only need to make once, and it will involve a very high cost. So for a very special and interesting home product design, 3D printer is the excellent solution for them because they only need one. So they can only use a 3D printer to print one for them, and the cost is not high. And besides the product for selling, here's come to the sales tools. Our company have two cases about the sales tools for the company. This one is you can see the man on the right photo. He is an eyewear manufacturer, but he needs to join exhibition every week. But he found that if he show only the eyewears in the exhibition every week, it is very boring to the visitor. So he scans his head and then changes into a 3D files and then print a head sculpture and put the eyewear on the head sculpture, so that when the visitors see this, they will know that the eyewear is perfect fit to a real head. This can show that the advantage, the strength of the eyewear manufacturing technology of this company. So this is very interesting sales tools because 3D printer is not only creating something to sell immediately. 3D printer can make something for company to improve their sales performance, to help them to do better in their business. And also, 3D printer is not only printing something to sell directly. This case is a funeral company in China. And in China, many people don't want to have bad condition bodies when they pass away. So here, this case is about old people has passed away, and his family wants to make him in a better condition, especially for his face. So the family gives some photos to the funeral company, and the funeral company create the 3D files of the face of the old man, and they use our printer to print the face and put it back into the dead body and go to the funerals. So to the funeral company, this is an add-on service. The charge is very expensive, but in fact, what they do is just make the 3D files and print it. It is in fact a very low cost activities, but they can have an extra service, not only earn more, but have a better service to their customer. And here's come to the specialized tools. I think from the photo you can see very clearly that 3D printer can print many tools for machines and also some special work in many manufacturers. For example, use it in a car, use it in an engine, and some spanner and hammer, etc. And also, I think this one very famous case is SpaceX. This is a new rocket, and they also use 3D printer to create the engine for their space missions. So all this is how 3D printer create the final products, not only for selling to the market, but also creating something that can be used immediately by everybody, including the end user and also the company and other manufacturers to improve their work processes. But here comes the question. If we can use 3D printer to create certain kind of final product, can we use 3D printer to make mass production and replace the existing manufacturing method? Here are some attempts recently. The first thing is buy more 3D printers and print them at the same time. Because for a 3D printer, especially for the one printing plastic, it's just, I think it's 5,000 Hong Kong dollar for one printer. So if you buy 100 printer, 100 3D printer, it's just the same cost as buying machines for the traditional manufacturing process. So some people think that this may be a way to save their cost so that they can create the product with 3D printing and don't use the traditional manufacturing method. The other way is to buy a bigger 3D printer and print many things at the same time. You can see from the photo that for 3D printing, one special thing is that once you have enough 3D print platform size, you can print anything on it, no matter they are the same things or they are different things. So you can see we can print many things with the printer at the same time. Some people will find that by this method, they can save a lot of time because if they only make one thing from a 3D printer, once it's finished, they need to restart the printer and print again. But if they can print the same things together, they can start the printing when they off from work. And the next day, when they go back to the office, they can see everything are finished in the 3D printer. Because he don't need to stand beside the printer to see it's working. He can just leave the printer here and let it to print, make and create the things. So in this sense, 3D printer can save the production time. And the last attempt is about a 3D printing system. There are some 3D printing company which cooperate with some corporate to make a specialized 3D printing system. For example, this is a company called Optomex, and he built the 3D printing system for a lens. As I remember, it should be a lens making company, and this is not only a 3D printer because you can see it has 4 nozzles. That part we can say that it is a 3D printer because it extrudes the materials and build the object layer by layers. This is the concept of 3D printing. But it's also involved many parts. For example, they need to change the dimension of the printout, and also they have another assembling process during the creations. So this is not only a 3D printer. This is a whole system with the 3D printing technology in it. So here are some attempts of making 3D printer mass production tools. But in fact, for today, there are still some constraints in 3D printing because you can see from this graph, the black line is about the cost and the quantity of the traditional manufacturing method. The blue line is about using 3D printer for production. You can see that if we only build 1 or 100 units of an object, using 3D printer is cheaper because for 3D printer, building each object will have the same cost. But for the traditional manufacturing, or we can say it is injection molding, if you create many products, for example, up to 10,000 units of products, then the cost will go down sharply if you increase the number of production. So right now, if you want to choose 3D printing for production, you need to find the break-even point for the 3D printing and also the traditional manufacturing method. And the second thing is about the print speed. Right now, 3D printing print speed is still quite low. Although some very advanced 3D printing company like 3D System, they announced that they have a 3D printer which have a higher print speed than the injection molding unit time. But in fact, this is only very limited company can do that. For the low-cost printer, the print time is still very slow. For example, if I want to print this kind of this bottle, it will cost you one night to print this. So right now, this is a comparison about 3D printing and the traditional manufacturing. Right now, we can say that 3D printing is good for making customized product and also with limited quantity of product. But if we are talking about very high quality finishing and also very large amounts of quantity of products, 3D printing is still not good for that. So today, most of the company in 3D printing industry have a consensus that 3D printing is a supplement of the traditional 3D printing. Maybe one day, we can use only 3D printing for production. But for today, or maybe in coming 5 or 10 years, 3D printer is still a supplement to the traditional manufacturing, because the traditional manufacturing has a very strong advantage on building large quantity of products. So what's next? According to our research, we found that technology, materials, and the design will be the key for the future of 3D printing. For technology, for example, higher resolution, faster print speed, and of course, lower cost will be the key for the 3D printing technology to enter the whole market. And for materials, right now it can use metal, plastic, etc. But when you go to a market, supermarket, etc., or a superstore, you can see the products are made from many materials, which 3D printers cannot cover right now. So 3D printing technology still need to add more materials in the printing technology. And for design, in fact, there are some difference for the 3D design for 3D printing and the traditional manufacturing. And for the 3D printing design, there are lots we can do. For example, how to make a design which is consume less materials in the printing, but it remain the same physical properties. This is very important because if we can have such design, we can save a lot of printing time and also printing materials, which can further reduce the production cost. And also, right now, design is held by the experts in 3D product design. So if we need the 3D printing technology enter the mass market, we need a simpler design technology and simpler design ways. No matter we have a very easy design software, or we build a 3D design platform for everyone to use. So technology, material, and design will be the future of 3D printing. And we can see that the industry are all working hard on these three directions. So that's all for my presentation. Hope my presentation can give you some ideas of what's going on 3D printing. If you have some more questions, feel free to contact me through email or find me after my speaking sessions. Thank you.
No problem. We will have time for our guests to ask you questions here. So please remain on stage. Anyone who has questions, ask about the 3D printing to catch the time to ask our expert now. Anyone? Oh, Okay, so same, Hugo, you got a really details in presentation and thought they will send you a private message after the show. Thank you. Thank you, Hugo. Please be seated.